Welcome back to another episode of the Craftavore Tastes. I'm your host, Max. And today we're digging into another Chicagoland brewery, courtesy of my buddy, Andrew. Andrew, thank you so much, man. This is actually a continuation of those beers that he was so kind enough to send across in a box to me a number of weeks ago. Today we are digging into Noon Whistle Brewing. This is their Gummy Vortex Northeast IPA. So Noon Whistle is located in Lombard, Illinois, which I believe is just west of Chicago. And they do basically this thing called their Gummy series. And basically their Gummy series is their hazy, juicy, New England style IPA series. So I was super excited to dive into this one. This one's coming in at 7.5% ABV, and I believe it's brewed with Citra and Simcoe, if I'm not mistaken. So one more thing before I dive into the review. I did want to mention that this can has a drink by date of 3/26/18. It is now March 30th. So we're 4 days over. And that's all on me. No fault of Noon Whistle, obviously. No fault of Andrew. He actually got this beer to me pretty fresh. And with my illness and a whole other host of beers that I had, obviously, in the queue to be able to review, unfortunately, it got stuck in the back of the refrigerator. And I just found it and looked at the date and went, So I guess what this review will be, to some degree, will be an interesting little look, at stability, right? So we're 4 days over of kind of what the brewery has said this beer should be enjoyed by or drank by. I've kept it cold ever since I received it, so I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, if there's any kind of drop off, certainly not going to include that in the rating because, frankly put, essentially said, it's all on me. My bad, my fault. Sorry, Andrew. Anyway, let's go ahead. Let's go through the drill. Do the appearance, aroma, taste, and then we'll rate it. Okay? One cool thing that I did want to notice about these guys' cans, and I'm going to get it into the camera right now, you can kind of see that instead of, your kind of traditional just kind of pushback can top, they actually have the old school, like, 60s and 70s, like, pull can. Yeah. I mean, that's different. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen any brewery do that, so that's certainly a point of differentiation. I don't know how much it costs them to get these cans made. I've actually, frankly, never seen them, in my own lifetime. You know what I mean? Outside of pulling a can out of the dirt, that was once buried from 20, 30, 40 years ago. So anyway, wanted to point that out because God knows if this goes poorly, you're going to wonder exactly what it is that I'm doing. So let's go ahead and pull a top off this beer. It's actually pretty simple and pretty easy. That's pretty cool, man. I kind of dig that. That's kind of neat. All right. And yeah, that's wild. Take a look at that. It's actually a gaping hole, man, which is kind of cool. Maybe it is cheaper. I have no idea. Somebody mentioned it in the comments section. I don't know. I've never, frankly, seen anything like it. So, all right, let's go ahead and get this one into a glass. Pour that slightly aggressively to make sure that it gets in there. That looks good. All right. Get this guy over here, just like that. All right, let's take a look. All right, so beer comes in medium to medium light goldish kind of color. It's got almost a little bit of for lack of a better term, kind of brownish hues here. It's probably coming or showing a little bit more lighter in the actual camera view itself. But it looks really, really good. I mean, traditional New England style kind of haze on it. What's kind of funny is it almost has that milkiness that I mentioned in my review of Treehouse's Very Green. And in that review, I mentioned I hadn't kind of seen this before when I saw it come out of the glass. I mean, Very Green is definitely more milky as it pertains to kind of its murkiness. But this is kind of close. So I mentioned I hadn't seen that really often that much anymore. So now here's another beer that kind of looks similar to it. So what do I know? Anyway, beer looks really awesome. Not really much head to speak of. It dissipated pretty quickly once I got that into a glass. It's still, I can smell it already from the top. So you know what? Stability, I think they're doing a pretty decent job, and that drink by date, as long as you kind of keep things cold, it seems like things kind of kept up with this beer just so far from the aroma. So let's go ahead and actually get a little bit of a deeper dive into it and get ourselves a true aroma. Ooh, that is interesting. Huh. Whoa. So first thing that I'm kind of getting is, it's definitely not my nose. I know that for sure. So the pungency behind the aroma is, you can tell, has it's not as pungent as it probably once was when this beer was super fresh. So now I'm really kicking myself for keeping this one in the fridge. Because, man, this smells good. And I'm going to say something kind of crazy. This is the first beer that I might have ever smelled and got an aroma of that actually reminded me of a Treehouse beer. And I just mentioned it in Very Green, if you watch that review, that what was so unique and what I found so unique about Treehouse beers is that they had such a distinct aroma and taste. It has that Treehouse character. But man, I'd be damned if this didn't have a little bit of it. As it's warming now in my hand, oh my God. I mean, really kind of dank, overripe tropical fruits. Papaya dominant for me. Mango, pineapple. And I don't know because if it's the can that's a little bit older, but the aroma of those citrus fruits are extremely overripe. Like if you took a fruit and you knew it was about, the fruit, you kind of pick it up and you've kind of left it out for a little bit long, right? And it's getting to that point where it's looking a little bruised, and it's almost kind of to the point of turning. I'm getting that kind of aroma, but in a really good and kind of pungent way. Damn, now I'm getting even a little bit more pineapple now. So mango, papaya, pineapple. God, that smells awesome. It literally smells like fucking like tropical fruit juice. Man, I'm getting more pissed by the moment. I really wish I drank this thing fresh. Hopefully, Andrew, send more cans, man. Let's go ahead and get ourselves a taste. Cheers. Whoa. Huh. Okay. That taste is extremely unique. I don't know if I've ever... Wow. That is literally straight tropical fruit nectar. Like if I didn't know, and I don't really know, to be perfectly honest with you, so somebody tell me like in the comments section, like I would think that they actually brewed this beer and then added pineapple juice to it at canning. Or even mango juice or like papaya juice at canning. That's how dominant those tropical fruit flavors and aromas are. Like the taste is kind of taking me back a little bit because it's so tropical fruit forward that it lends itself to almost borderline tasting fake. Like in the sense of, when tropical fruit flavors come out of hops, right? And then you can kind of tell the difference between when, maybe an extract or, something of that nature was added on to the beer. This kind of tastes that way, but none of the research that I did previously mentioned anything like that. Going back in for another taste. This is crazy. Oh my God. Wow, that's wild, man. Yeah, that is legitimately like a massive blast of extremely overripe, bruised tropical fruits. Mango, papaya, pineapple dominant. That's what you get. Like zero bitterness, none whatsoever. Mouthfeel is kind of soft. To some degree, I can almost feel like it maybe could use just a slight bit more carbonation. There really wasn't a tremendous amount of head that came off of it, and it's obviously dissipated. And it is a bit kind of carb level seems just to be slightly low. I don't know if that's because these cans are slightly different, but this is fucking crazy, man. Wow. I mean, this is probably one of the most interesting beers from the standpoint of truly replicating like tropical fruit juice. Yeah, wow. All right, one more sip, and then we're gonna give it a rating. Wow. Okay. Straight up, 4.25 beer, without a question. I'm really interested to know, and I'll probably do a little bit more research once I finish the video here, whether or not they're adding any tropical fruit flavors or extracts or juice or anything like that to the beer, like post, once it's done, like maybe in canning or I don't know, whatever. Because holy smokes, that's probably one of the, as again, not to beat a dead horse, but that's like the most juice kind of forward New England style IPA I think I might have ever had. And again, I don't know if it's because it's a couple of days over or whatever it may be. The tremendous amount of over ripeness that is coming out of those tropical fruits is kind of fucking with my head a little bit. So, all right, 4.25 caps from the Craftavore Tastes, man. That's pretty nuts. I want to know a little bit more about this. So if you know a little bit how they kind of brew this, please shoot a note to me in the comments section, because this one's kind of messing my mind up a little bit, all right? So 4.25 for the Craftavore Tastes. I hope you join me again for another episode where I drink, I review, I rate, and then I repeat. Cheers.